connector for that. Also, most of the components we use, those are very helpful, like the aggregator, scatter, gather, and many of them like batch processing. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, thank you, Prakash. Thank you so much. Uh, uh, Next, I can ask you Divyesh Vasani. Hi, Divyesh.
Hey, hello all.
Hi.
Good to meet
Can
all
you?
of you now. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
no
Same
problem.
here.
So
So, can
yeah,
you
yeah.
share your experience of MuleSoft and what is your plan to get it from today's meetup?
Correct. So basically, with MuleSoft, I think I have close to 1.5 years of experience
Mm,
because I'm coming from other integration platforms which we use with SAP middleware platforms like SAP PO, SAP CPI. I started my journey with SAP XI 2.0 before that SAP Business Connector and all their middlewares. MuleSoft I picked it up in Syngenta, so I basically look after the overall MuleSoft platform in Syngenta, and that's pretty much about it, specifically on Syngenta. So I look after basically I was involved in initially setting up the platform, overall platform, CI/CD, the logging framework, and now also I'm working on. So I also look after the high level designing whatever projects which happens, and the rest of the thing is like this is one of the tasks where basically the whole intention of this meetup is this topic which I want to share,
yeah.
so that it will help people to patch the Mule servers, specifically on-prem servers, how it can be faster. That's the whole intention.
Thank you, Divyesh. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sheikh, I think we can start now,
Yes,
or we
yes, yes.
can wait 2 to 3 minutes more.
No, no, we can start. We can start it.
Okay.
Have a good audience to start with. So, hello guys, welcome to Ahmedabad Meetup. And Anurag, as you already seen me in Ahmedabad group meetups while I was organizing, but this time we have a new member in Ahmedabad Meetup is Anurag Sharma. He recently joined it and he will help me and he is helping me for organizing meetup and many more things. Okay, and let's basically today speak Divyesh. I'm going to cover introduction. So Divyesh is a speaker today, and he will patching and some on-premises operation on clusters and server, and you will feel good once you see the live demo and the live things working, live things we are doing in our on-premises. So let me go to the next slide. Okay, so basically these are the guidelines we are following normally for meetup. Here, while our speaker giving a session, so if you have any question, so basically you have to write down the question in the chat, and once we get a time, so we will answer of your question, and feel free to ask any question anytime. Just paste the question, just write the question in the chat, and we will see that, and we will try to answer every question, every doubt. So these are the guidelines we are following. And agenda, you know that initially we are doing the knowledge sharing, like introduction, as we have done, and the topic, and after that we have a question and answer quiz for all participants, and 3 winner will be selected for training and voucher. And the last thing we will do next meetup, and happy learning. And let me give you some updates. So basically it is a MuleSoft meetup, so I'm going to share you some updates. So the first link, I'm going to basically provide this PPT in the meetup page of the Ahmedabad group. But let me highlight some updates. Every updates, or for any point exchange, any point studio, MuleSoft runtimes, you are able to see in the release note. Okay, and let me show you one of the link. Um, like that key, we have got Anypoint Studio 7.9.0 with these are the updates. These are the updates, and these are the versions. We have got dark theme. So, and This time, and data graph. This is the second update from MuleSoft side. We have got data graph, and there's one meetup already done day before yesterday for data graph. How exactly it is working, you can check that, and you can register for webinar also. This is the link. You can do that. And MuleSoft Mentor. This is another update for MuleSoft Mentors. If you want to nominate someone who basically doing blog and doing for MuleSoft community. So basically before 18th of June, you can nominate someone. So basically, and MuleSoft will select and approve that key, whether she or he will be able to become a MuleSoft mentor or not. Okay, and so these are the in any point exchange. Recently, MuleSoft uploaded 26 connectors. So these are the list of connectors you might aware of that. But here you can see that we have Amazon Alexa, Box connector, DocuSign connector, Google Calendar connector, Google Drive, Google Maps. These are the 26 new connector recently added in the AnyPoint Exchange. And last but not the least, my favorite, Data View Playground. Previously, you are able to see it in the downline, but it is a part of the developer.mulesoft.com community. So this is the link of the data view editor. You can use that. For example, suppose this is my message. If I remove the payload, yes, that's how you can basically write your data view script like this way, and real time you will be able to see the result. Okay, so these are the updates from my side regarding MuleSoft platform. Okay, so introduction about me. My name is Sheikh Moinuddin. I'm working with Apicero as a Mule architect, and I have around 8+ experience total, overall 8+ experience, and 7+ experience in MuleSoft. So after 1 year of my start journey, I have started in MuleSoft with version 3.4. Now we are working in a 4.3 version, and I will give a chance to Anurag to introduce himself.
Hi, Melis. So I'm Anurag Sharma, working in Skill Technologies as a technical lead, and my main role and responsibilities like I'm looking after for high-level design, solution architecture, and sometimes working on low-level design and helping the developers to implement all those designs. Okay, and I'm a MuleSoft certified platform architect, integration architect, and MuleSoft developer. I have done all those certifications, and I have total 6 years of MuleSoft experience. And I am basically a MuleSoft Meetup leader of Ahmedabad group, and I'm an active member of MuleSoft Helper Forum. So this is from my side, and I hope you guys will enjoy today's session that Divesh will represent. So this is from my side. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you, Anurag.
Thank you, Sheikh.
Yeah, about our speaker is Divyesh Vashani, and as you know that basically Divyesh is someone who basically doing the platform stuffs, and for today's session, he's the best person, I can say that, to give you this kind of things, because we try that whosoever doing the things, that person can present. So he will share what kind of error, what kind of problems they are facing, and they are easily give you the tips and tricks that yeah, this problem I face, and you can solve this problem by this things. So and it is called experience, and it is called our hard work. So I am giving a chance to Devesh sir to to give introduction.
No problem, Sheikh. I mean, I already introduced, so no need to call me Divesh sir, but I'm just Dinesh here for all of us. Basically, I would like to start with what I do not know, right? So I need to explore the MuleSoft a lot because I just started a very brief journey, but I had a lot of integration experience previously with other tools, what I shared earlier. And basically, what I like specific about MuleSoft is that the quickly prototyping stuff, right? Rather than writing a code, which we used to do in typical other middleware tools, like SAP XIPO. That's the differentiator. In Syngenta, basically, I got a very good exposure to play around platform, right? So when you have admin access on all platforms, right, then you have responsibility as well, but you have got the sandbox as well. So with sandbox, then you can play around, and then so that's pretty much about it. But then I also have worked with some of the people over here, right? So like Abhishek as well, right? Abhishek Bathwal. So I know some of the people, right? And I'm learning from those people and also from all of you as well. So I hope the object of this session would be, kind of working session. So I would be less with slides, but then, try to show you. And in the end, the code is already available on GitLab, right? The GitHub. So directly after this session, right? In your case, I mean, if you are using the customer hosted runtimes, right? So in Syngenta, we use, so are you fine, Sheikh? I start, or maybe I just pause now?
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, the next one is uh, your only.
Okay.
Yes. So,
Okay.
so you can share your screen. Let me stop sharing.
So, I mean, I don't want to hijack anyone's mic, so no worries. So, okay. So basically, I will just give you a quick context, right, before I share. So in Syngenta, we use kind of hybrid landscape. So we have on-prem servers as well. We have cloud hub as well. On-prem servers are set up in AWS VPC, of course, Syngenta VPC. And we try to use our own on-prem cores. But then there are also some business critical APIs, high volume. We also leverage the cloud hub as well, cloud hub cores as well, vCores as well. This is how we try to balance. Uh, Typically, we have two nodes in dev, one sandbox, 3 test, and 4 productions. Every monthly, we need to patch this. So far, we were patching very badly. If I say we were doing by command line, so that's what we would be doing first step. That what do we do as a part of manual patching, right? And then I will go with the same activity, how we can achieve with Ansible. There are different tools available like Puppet, Chef, this one. This one I just heard from one of my colleague, and then I just tried to explore. And then I'm just giving first try, and then it is working very well. So far we are using it. And it is very faster, less error prone. And so I will start with Ansible introduction. Total, we have 2 topics. So if in case Sheikh, if I stretch more on first topic, right, due to working session or anything, maybe we can skip second topic, or we can fast forward, whatever, right? So just let me know, right? If
Yes.
anything, I'm stretching more, just let me know.
No, no, no
So
problem.
I
Yes.
will share my screen now.
Yes.
So I think you might be seeing the same screen, yeah? Okay. So I will go to,
Yes. We are able to see.
okay, maybe download before the PPT. Let me just, yeah, it's already there. So, okay. I'm sorry, guys, for taking extra 1 minute on. Okay. Perfect. So, I mean, hope my voice is audible, right? You can hear me, and then you can see my screen. You can
Yes,
see now.
yes. Yeah.
So I will directly go to specific slide. So we'll just give brief introduction about Ansible, right? What Ansible is about, right? So basically, Ansible is it is like automation tool. The specific use case what we are using is configuration management. So whenever we want to basically do any kind of configuration at infrastructure level, right? This tool basically automates. When we say automates, it's faster, it's efficient, and the good thing is that about Ansible is that you have different modules. So basically, if I want to copy file, I will be using Ansible copy module. So rather than I will directly go to Ansible slide, Ansible site itself. So ultimately here, if you see, right, Ansible has got different modules. So based on whatever functionality we want to use, if you want to just copy files to remote machine, you have copy module. If you want to find file, there is a find module. If you want to spin up EC2 instance, there is a EC2 module. So for all those different services or functionalities, whatever we want to do, there is always a module available. So if I see over here, and if you see the typical module guide, so you will get the typical Ansible AWS. So whatever service you want to spin up, you can directly go to all those AWS different modules. So these are the different modules. If I go to specific one, right, what I want to use, that is, so ultimately you will get all those different. There are a lot of modules based on the functionality, whatever you want to achieve. So coming back to the typical Ansible architecture, right? So if I go to, so this is all about Ansible, how it helps, right? But if I go to overall architecture, rather, let me go to prerequisites first. So ultimately, the prerequisite, right? Before I go to architecture, the Ansible, which basically automates the things, right, for configuration management or different functionalities. Ultimately, the Ansible prerequisites for specific this session, right? If you want to implement Ansible in your landscape, first thing is you have to install Ansible. It is very it's very I mean, it's very easy to run the command like installation guide. Today I'm going to run Ansible on our Linux nodes, which is using CentOS, but it has all the different guidelines how to install Ansible in your respective operating system nodes. Ultimately, in my case, it was already there in our Yum repos, so I just installed Ansible within our own Syngenta repos, and then it worked very well. So after installing the Ansible, right, you need to maintain the inventory file. Now, before I go to inventory file, right, let me pause it here for Ansible installation. Now I will tell you about the Ansible architecture. When I say architecture, I'm not going to get into the Ansible internal components, right? But basically how Ansible works. So basically Ansible works is, if I get any typical slide, right? So I have not any ready slide, but if I go to Ansible control node and so ultimately if I zoom this, so ultimately imagine that we have these four as a MuleSoft nodes, right? And then I nominate one node as an Ansible controller node. Now this node acts as a master node, and these are like a slave nodes. So ultimately, I would be writing Ansible playbook. Playbook is nothing but you basically define a list of tasks which you want to achieve via Ansible. So you write what task you want to achieve in Ansible controller node, which is nothing but another EC2 instance what we are using. It can be any machine on which you will basically write Ansible playbook. Playbook is list of tasks. Now, all these tasks, right? So you define what task you need to do. It's like a play. So what play you want to perform, right? On each node, right? Plus, when you define a play or task, right? You have to also indicate on which node you want to execute all these tasks, right? So there is there is another variable called target. So ultimately, if you want to run all these tasks on node one, you will write target as node one or host as node one. And then all those tasks, whatever you write, right, it will execute on this. When you want to run on another node, right, you just write node two and it will run. You can also run parallel as well. So if I group all these nodes, right, I'm going to show that in an immediate after I finish this. But if you group all these four nodes, and if you want to run all those tasks parallel, right, you will run all those tasks in all four nodes parallel. The prerequisite is after installing Ansible, this Ansible controller node, right, this machine should be able to SSH on all these nodes. It doesn't work like, does not work like our agent, right? You do not need to install any on-prem agent, right, to have established this communication. It just works with SSH. So make sure you establish SSH, which I already did in my case. So whichever node you want to run the task, right? Ansible basically SSH to that respective node, and then it runs the playbook. That's how it works. So now I will directly go to in our system, and then I will log into first the Ansible node. So this machine, if I see right, the P003, right, that's the machine. This will act as our Ansible controller node. Now it is going to give command to this node, which is our sandbox server. So we are going to patch this server with Ansible. But before I show you the patching, right? So after you install Ansible, you need to maintain the inventory file, because Ansible needs to know that which host, but you give me the host name, right? That what is the host on which you want to patch, right? So all those different hosts, whatever we maintain, right, that we maintain in a file called inventory. So I will go to the inventory file, give any name. So I have, in my case, it's dev. All these are dummy addresses, but I have kept the sandbox as the one which we use. So ultimately here you can group all hosts. So this is like typical INI file format. So in my case, sandbox is just one server, right? So I have maintained sandbox as a as a section, right? And then there is IP, and then there is another group called dev, where I will mention that what are those dev servers. Similarly, I would be maintaining in real file. I have like test and all those hosts in test, and then all the production nodes as well. Now here I just need to patch the sandbox, right? So I would be directly using as a sandbox, and then it will patch only this IP. But if I put just dev, right, it is going to patch all those two IPs, whatever they're under that section. So I will now quickly go to main screen. And now what we will do is, so we will try to write first very manual or very kindergarten type of Ansible playbook, right? Which will just start and stop mule instance. So in this case, right, there are just two tasks which need to do. First task is, stopping mule. Second task will be the starting mule. So let me go to, so save the time again. I had already written that playbook, but it's a very smaller playbook. So we can go through each and every piece of that. So playbooks, you will start. Ultimately, it's a YAML file only. I forgot to tell you. So ultimately, in the YAML file only, you define your play or the task, whatever you want to do. So once I open this, you can ignore. So this is just a command which I just put up. Now, this is like YAML style indentation we have to do. Now, the first line, what it says is that I want to perform all these tasks, right? Tasks which are grouped like stop mule and start mule. I want to perform this task against the host sandbox. Sandbox is nothing but which we have defined in earlier case, the dev inventory file. Yes. And here I can define list of variables. So I do not need to refer this complete path. That's like variable what we have. Here I'm also mentioning that I want to execute all these tasks as a root user. So if you have any requirement that your MuleSoft tasks are managed by any X user, right? Although you have login with any Y user, so you can indicate that, hey, run this task with this user, so that you do not have any issues of group or ownership post running this playbook. So the first task, right? So here you group basically all the tasks under this tasks as a label, yeah. Under that, all the immediate child are stop mule. You can give any name in the name. That's where comes the module. So here I am using the shell module. Why? Because I want to run the shell command. Now I am giving extra arguments to this shell, right? So what I'm telling is that please change directory to the mule home, right? Which is this guy /bin. Go to there and then run this command. That's what we are doing. Similarly, another task, start mule. Again, I need to use shell module because I want to run shell command. So what I'm doing is, again, I'm giving the same arguments. I'm telling them just change the directory to bin, then start the mule. Now, after that, right, I want to basically log this command output, right, to one of the variable. So that's where we are using register module, which just registers the output into this variable called mule_start. And then for debug purpose, I will display in the logs. So whatever the output we get, right, after running the start command, it will just display. You have to use message as a constant word. That's the requirement. And then I'm just outputting this variable in the Jinja syntax, what they call. So this is the Jinja syntax if you're familiar with other languages, right? So you have to just basically put in double quote and put in two curly braces and refer this variable. So now what I will do is I will open another session so that we can switch back from this task to after running the playbook, correct? So I will become root, and I'm becoming root not to run the task as a root because it's already done by playbook, but I just don't want to corrupt my CentOS user. That's the whole purpose. And I will go to directory where my Ansible playbooks are there, right? So to run the playbook, basically we need to run command called Ansible playbook. All my playbooks are stored in playbooks directory. So I'm referring to /playbooks. And we will run our like a very kindergarten style Ansible playbook. But before that, right, let me go to Sandbox and I will go to, I will just check what is mule status. Okay, so it's running. And now let's run this. Meanwhile, I will just check it is still showing started. So you can see it runs the first command stop mule. So first task is it tries to gather the facts. It's just kind of handshake. And when I see now, right, it already stopped and now it's starting. So by the time I was speaking, right, it already stopped and now it's starting status. Yeah. So it finished stop mule task. It run the shell module. It change directory to this. Run this command, and now it is already executing this task, right? So all tasks we define as a name, and then these are the respective modules. Okay, and let me check first. I'm on now Sandbox node, so it is still starting. Okay, and yeah. So ultimately, after start mule, right, you can see there is a debug trace is there, right? That's the debug trace which is coming from here. When we try to output the variable which was given as input to the register module. So mule start is getting printed, right? So you can see it says change is true. So change is a little bit a different thing. Whether it really made any change to your system or not, you can customize it. And then this is the command what it run. And then if I go to very briefly, right? So ultimately this is the output what you get, right? So whenever you stop mule, right, or in this case, started a mule, right? So you will get this output. And ultimately, yeah. So if any task got failed, right, really you will see the failure message, but it went well. And then I will go to status. Started. So I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. So this was just very kindergarten kind of playbook. In case if you have any questions specifically in this basic playbook, right, I would like to look at anything. Sheikh, do we have? Otherwise we will go to. Yeah.
Devesh, there is one question from Surya. Like he's asking, when you say stop mule, it's like Anypoint Studio or just application being undeployed?
Right. So it's like Anypoint Studio, right? So in Studio, whenever you terminate the instance, right, your local Anypoint Studio embedded Mule runtime, right? Similarly, in this case, I'm just stopping my Mule server. So not undeploying application, I'm just stopping the server.
What happened? We have on premises. We are maintaining our own Mule server, and most of the time we need that. We need to restart the server. So either we go to the bin and go and run the command like mule start, mule restart, or mule stop. So those the same way we can do with the Ansible also. So this is what there is short example how exactly we are starting stopping mule.
Correct, correct. I mean, the intention was that, as Sheikh mentioned, right, it was just to, before I jump to the bigger playbook, right, before I show the complex, which includes different Ansible modules, which we will be using to patch, right? So I just want to show you a very minuscule version of Ansible playbook, which just starts and stop. Which just runs two commands. So the intention is not to use this command to start stop mule, right? I mean, you can anyways run single command, but it's just to give you idea. Hope that clears your question. Yeah. Okay. So we'll move to the next.
Yes.
There is one more question from Tarun. He's asking, since the nodes are present in Cloud Hub and On-Prem, which node is hosting Ansible and how does it connect to other nodes?
Correct. So basically, all nodes are already added via runtime manager. All our on-prem nodes, they will always be visible. So specific this node, right, where Ansible is installed. So this is node reserved for just to run platform relevant activities. So this node is purely used for CI/CD or Ansible. There is no Mule running on this specific E003, right? There is no Mule process or Mule runtime is installed. This task, so this node is acting as an Ansible controller. So I do not need to add this node into the cloud app. And the second thing is how it communicates to sandbox, right? As you can see, S and then P, right? So this is S where the MuleSoft is running, right? It connects via SSH. So basically, if I go to over here, right, and then if I type SSH and then if I try to view the IP, which is 55.96.149. So let me just go up. So ultimately, you just need to ensure your SSH is established, so it communicates via SSH. Yeah. So if I want to just finish my command, right? So ultimately, let me just expand it a bit. 55.96.149. Okay. 596.149. So okay, it is asking me password, but ultimately, if I had used with root, right, maybe 10.55.96.1, because I'm running this with root user, right? You see now this change, right? So I am now into this guy where the mule runtime is installed, right? So hope that is clear, right? I will just, does it answer your question? So now I will directly jump to the patching. So I will directly patch this manually, and then we will run it via Ansible. Or I mean, or maybe, I mean, this was my intended flow. Just a second. I think. Sorry, guys. Okay. Yeah. I forgot to put on aeroplane mode. My bad. So ultimately, to save time, right? So we have two options. So either I can patch manual, or I can directly run the Ansible playbook. So let me patch manually, right? So we can understand the pain point what we have, right? So imagine that we have got this sandbox server. Now I want to patch this. So the first step is we download the patch from our help.mulesoft.com. We pick the right patch. We are running 4.2.2. So then I need to upload this patch on my this sandbox machine, right? So ultimately I will go to the node which I want to patch. So we have this many nodes, that's the reason we're going with Ansible, not to log in each and every node and patch, So ultimately, I have created one folder called Mule Upgrade. So this is our sandbox server, which is basically I mean where the MuleSoft is running. Yeah. So ultimately, what I will do is I will just clean up my existing files. So ultimately, to patch, right? I have already downloaded, just to save time, this April patch. So this patch is already there. I uploaded on Sandbox. Now just forget about Ansible and everything, right, for a moment. Now I'm going to log into this Sandbox machine and then I will run the patching via commands, right? So right now I am into Sandbox, yeah. And then the first step, right? So if I look at the steps, whatever it says, right? So all the steps are already there in the zip file, right? Whenever you explode, right? So let me show you that structure. So ultimately, if I go for Aprilia, so once you extract that patch, right, you will get this kind of structure. These are different the patch files. And if you open the README file, right, so these are the steps I have already copied. So ultimately, if I just walk you through the steps, right, so we will go step by step. So one of the first step is that, first of all, I need to unzip this patch, right? So I will quickly go and unzip the patch. So I will go to Home CentOS where I have uploaded the patch file. I will then unzip and it's unzip. Now, if I go to here, right, so you can see now we'll go step by step as per the instructions from MuleSoft. So I will go to inside Mule Home lib patches, delete any existing patches. Do not delete this Mule artifact patches. So I will go to Mule Home lib patches. Since I had already run this patching activity yesterday, right? So I was just trying. So let me remove the existing patch. That's what even MuleSoft says. We do not need to remove this, right? I will just remove this extra guy. What is this? Okay. Let's check. We remove that. First step is done. Second step is Mule Home Services folder. Delete existing HTTP service folder because we have got the new jar file for HTTP, yeah? And we have to create a new folder called this. So I will go to services. Here, if I go right, so here they are asking us to remove your older HTTP patch, right? So I will just go RM. It's a directory, yeah. So then I hope you can still see my screen, right? Because I was getting this pop-up. Okay.
So click on hide.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Okay, it cannot remove permission denied. Okay, so I need to wait for some time. And then cd home. And here we will remove -rf. Mule service HTTP. Okay, I deleted. Now I need to create a new folder, right? Since I already patched the same version, right? So you might be saying I'm repatching basically the same April version, right? But in the respective cases, right, you might be having different version. Maybe you might be having 13 or 12, right? Now you will be adding the 14, right? That's would be the ideal scenario. So I will create this directory, and here I will extract this jar. You know which jar? So this is the new jar file which we got in our patch, right? So I will explode this jar into this folder. So unzip. It is home CentOS. HTTP. I'm unzipping, but I forgot to cd into the newly created folder, right? I should be zipping that. So I'll just club it this command, simply forward. New service HTTP. So it will go here and then it will unzip. Boom. Okay. So now it got created a new structure. Okay. Let's go for new next service, which is data view. So we got a release or new patch for data view. I will create this new folder. Before creating, I need to remove the existing folder, right? So let me again list directories. Imagine that in your case, you got like January patch, right, for data view, right? In my case, I'm doing the same thing. So what I need to do is I will be removing this data view folder, right? So rm minus rf and sandbox, yeah. And let's create new folder, yeah. Next task is we go to this guy and unzip. Mule upgrade, and I will go to Mules. Set. And finally, last service. Huh? So this is the pain which I was feeling personally. What I'm doing now, right? Maybe you can see on my face, but after me, AMS team was doing, we will go with Ansible. So maybe we will have happy faces as well. So now go to the last service. We got upgrade for OAuth. Thank God we have 3 services. Code upgrade in this patch, yeah. But then after Ansible, now we do not have any worry irrespective of patches we got. Yeah, so I will first list. I will see, okay, OAuth. Okay, so let me remove this guy because I got new new contents, yeah. So bye bye OAuth. So what I will do is rm minus rf, I removed, and I will create the same directory. Okay, and let me go to this guy. And then almost have home centers and a file which is mule service water. Oh. So finally, let me see if we face anything or not. Yeah, these are the 3 nodes. I think I forgot to copy this guy, the first step. It seems to me. Let me just recheck. That was the first step. If I miss, I'll just go there, cd dollar mule home lib patches. Yeah, I forgot. So let me copy. So this was the first step, right? If you recall, right? Removed existing patch, but I did not copy the new core patch, right? So let me copy this guy, and from the zip extraction, right, in from mule upgrade folder, I will put it to here. So cp, since this is a file, yeah, so it's distributed home. I mean patches are home centros, and let's copy this guy. I want to copy here, so that's okay. Okay, missing destination file open after. Okay, so see this file got I mean we copied this file. Now I forgot to do one more thing. Ideally we should stop the server, which I did not do. But ultimately after this step, right, what we do is ultimately before applying patch, we have to stop the server, perform all these 3 steps, which I did, and then finally restart the server. So just for a sake of completeness, right, so what I will do is I will just reboot mule node. So just to give you a nutshell, right? So these are the steps what we do in manually. It was a bit faster because we did many times, so commands were there. Now there are other alternatives as well, right? So now while this starts, right, I would like to just give you a brief idea. So there is other ways that what initially we were thinking is just creating a shell script and then just run the shell script. But imagine that we have 3 4 nodes like that, right? And then we have to do that nodes one by one. On production we do on weekends. So imagine that we have to stop one node, we perform all these steps even if we had shell script, right? So you have to still copy this patch file to that production, for example p1 node, right? I will copy, then I will unzip, and then simply I have to run shell script, it will do that. Similar same thing, I have to again copy the patch file to another node, right? To another P2 node. And then again, I have to do I just need to run shell script. But with Ansible, it gives more control. I'm also validating, that whether this patch is already there or not, right? Whether I'm applying the 4.2.2 patch only or not. I'm not applying 4.3, right? So you get more control. And it's like a master slave architecture, right? So I have task, all these tasks, right? All these 4 tasks, right? And then I'm just telling them, hey, run this task on this P1. Now run on P2. Now run on P3. If it's on dev, I will run parallel, and then it will do my job. So it gives convenience. That's what I found. Now let me directly go to. Now we will do the same steps with Ansible playbook. So let me clear this, and let's check the mule running or not. Okay, it's back to normal.
That we will complete QA. Yes. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Devesh.
Can we deploy Ansible on 2 or multiple nodes?
Oh, we can deploy. Then do we really need or not? I mean, at least I do not see the need, right? Because ideally, to run Ansible, you just need one controller node, which acts as a controller machine. So you just install on one node and then it will fire commands on all the 4 5 whatever nodes. Because in Syngenta, we use these for even 100 EC2 machines. So our other team using just to patch OS patching, they use Ansible. So Ansible is installed on. So we do not have, at least, I mean, we do not have those use case where we have to, load balance. So, but yeah, one good thing is that we can run Ansible via CI/CD. So if you want to manage version control, you can have this Ansible in your code repo, right? And then you can run it.
Okay. And would this MuleStop command make all nodes in the cluster? Means the MuleStop command can be stop all nodes in the cluster.
No. So basically, what we can stop. So it all depends on what you maintain in inventory, right? So imagine that you have dev cluster or test cluster, and test having 4 IPs, right? So test would be having 4 different servers, and then you have form a cluster, right? If you want to stop all 4 machines together, right? In the Ansible playbook, right? So if I again open this one, right? In the host, right? You will just put the test as a section, right? So in your inventory file, right? There would be test as a section, and then you would be always be having those 4 IPs, right? So instead of putting sandbox, right? We'll just put test, then it will perform start, stop, whatever, right, on all 4 nodes in parallel.
Yes. And from Ashish, one question. Everything you are doing SSH manually and then running a playbook. I think yes.
SSH, no, actually, we do not need to do, I mean, before running Ansible playbook, I do not need to SSH every time. SSH
Okay.
is just one time. So it's like typical process, right? There are multiple ways. What we have done is I just copied this Ansible's, the public key, right? The public SSH key. And I just put it into all those mule nodes, right? Into their SSH, the trustable keys, right? And then it just works. So this one-time process. I just establish SSH, and then in the command in demo, I was just showing to one of the question, right? That SSH or how it communicates, right? So I just show it, but you do not need to do SSH.
while we are doing Ansible.
Correct. You just run Ansible playbook. This SSH is just one-time process. So you install Ansible. Second step is make sure you establish SSH just one time so that everyone trusts. That's all. And then you run Ansible playbook.
Okay. Yes. And the last question, this Ansible automation patching will be only for Linux OS infrastructure, or what if we have a window infra? Will be Ansible work on that also?
I do not have a clear answer, but we need to check on Ansible side because Ansible supports Windows, but I can see some modules are not supported on Windows. But then I do not see any challenge. There should be possibility. It should work.
Okay. Yes, Devesh, we can go ahead.
Okay, good to know. Perfect. So now I will first directly run the Ansible playbook. Then I will go into the explaining the playbook task, right? Playbook tasks. So I am now back to my Ansible machine. I am not on MuleSoft machine. So this is, so as you can see, it's running. Mule is already running. Now let's do one thing. So right now it was patched with April, right? Now let's patch for May. Let me see if I have uploaded or not. So this is April. It will take some time, but let's try this one, right? So ultimately, Mule upgrade and let's clean up. So this is one task which I need to just finish in Ansible playbook. When you apply patch, right, you need to remove the older patch before we start the new patch, right? So this is one last task which I have to yet add. So now what I will do is I will upload now May month patch. So earlier it was patch with April, right? So now we will patch for the May. I hope it should be faster. So now we will patch sandbox with May patch. And while it does this, right, what I need to do is now I am on Ansible machine. Yeah, just to make it clear. Now there is a one thing. So since we are switching to from minuscule version of starting stop mule, right? I need to tell Ansible that hey, for this patch, right, we got upgrade for all these 4 services, HTTP, View, or OAuth, right? What happens is that tomorrow MuleSoft does not release for OAuth, right? Then blindly, I do not want to remove OAuth, right? Because imagine that I had not got patch for OAuth, I just got, just these 3 lines, right? And then as per the Ansible playbook, I just remove OAuth service blindly, but then it did not get the folder. So it's disastrous moment, right? So what we are trying to do is also the file name, right? If you see the jar file names, some of them are timestamped. So these are pretty much dynamic file name. So what we have to do is before you patch via Ansible, there is one metadata file which you just need to maintain once before you start patch. So imagine a scenario, you need to patch 4 nodes, 4 production nodes. And since it's production, right, so you will do 1 node at a time. Now, before you patch, right, ultimately you have to maintain, so just one time this metadata file, and before you run the Ansible playbook on any one of the node, right? So here the metadata file, what I am maintaining is, what is the new jar file name, what MuleSoft has given, right? After you explode, right? We'll just maintain, okay, this is file name, this is for service, this is for what? Ultimately, we need to explode this jar to respective folders, right? So these are the new folder we have to create. So I will maintain also this details that which new folder I need to create, and then which is the and which is the service name, right? Which I need to extract into this newly created folder. So if I go to over here, and so you can maintain this metadata file anywhere. This is again just a one step. I mean, you need to do once. When I say once, which means imagine you are patching for May, right? So you will do once until you apply your May month patch to all nodes, dev, test, production. The moment you start with June, right? Because June you download new patch, again you will have new metadata, right? I mean new file names. So you just maintain once. So right now, since we are switching from April to May, right? So I will just maintain this metadata file. It's already there. I just need to uncomment. So I will directly go to here. I have created a property file. There are various formats you can create. So if you see, right, the May months, the patch for May, right, those are commented one. April was the active one. So you can see I'm maintaining the host as well. So where this is where I'm telling that you need to patch sandbox. If you need to patch like P001, right, or P1, whatever your server, right, you will mention P1, which is coming from your inventory file, right? If you reconnect, right, hope you can reconnect. So you maintain all those inventory or host names, right, in that inventory file. You refer that inventory, right, that section, right, you refer that host name from inventory file. So once you maintain your those host in inventory file, so I'm just referring sandbox in my case, but in your case it's P1, P2, P3, right? You will just maintain that, okay, on this host I need to patch. What is the patch file? So this is the patch file name, right? So I've just pasted that patch file name. What is the HTTP file? What is the new folder which I need to create, right? It's 14. What is the auth file, auth folder, and similarly view, yeah? So let me just uncomment this, and then I will just active the May month patch, right? I had already added just to save time, but we'll just comment from April because we are doing patching for May. Okay, and let me do escape. Okay, so I uncommented. So now since I need to patch sandbox, but if you see the file names, right, it was 22nd March for lib, right? Now in this case, I'm getting 19th April. This is the timestamp, right? Since this is a May, so in May we get the, so in May, this is the latest files which we need to patch, right, accordingly. More or less, I do not see much difference for HTTP. It says the same version. I think Mule did not upgrade. That's what it looks like. I can see upgrade in data view and the main lib patch, yeah? So I just uncommented. So I just updated the metadata file. Now I will save. We can see if any syntax error or no. I do not see any issues. Now we will patch. So then I will show the playbook so you can connect. It's a YAML file only. And before that, right, let's just recheck what is the Mule status. It is started, it's already running. Now I am on Ansible instance. I'm not doing SSH, yeah. I will just run playbook. I just maintain metadata for May month, right, and then run it. It will take little time, but not the time what we were doing. It is stopping Mule. So like I forgot to stop Mule, right? Now this Ansible will do it. So I can rely on this that yeah, it has to stop Mule, right? Okay, I can see some error. Maybe let me see. The error was if you're using Ansible, could not find or access. Okay, it is not able to find the file. Let me see if the file was copied or not. I think I can see file is copied. Let me just Mule EE distribution standalone. Okay, maybe I did not updated the metadata file because it is trying to look for this guy, right? Mule EE distribution. Let me see. For sure, it is not matching. Oh, yeah. I will go to metadata file. You know what happened is that it was not able to find the lib patch file, right? Which it needs to copy, right? So maybe I did not updated the metadata file properly. Let me see. So before that, let me see what it done. So it removed already clear patches from lib patches. So it done half job. Okay. So check if patch file copied or not. Let me refresh. Okay, I think it did not unzip. Let me see. Okay. Mule. Go to here, and then let me look at it, right? So patch file, everything looks correct. Jar file. I will not save it. Could not find or access. Am I running as a root? Home CentOS Mule upgrade. Okay. Let me just copy this. I had not anticipated this, but let's see to troubleshoot as well. So I will try to find this Mule patch. Okay. CD Ansible. It works. And patch. But find or access, and this is happening in copy the patch. Remove a layer patch. Finally, remote patch file layer. Impact service. Code archive. Inflating. I can see it's doing unzip, but why I do not see that unzip structure?
Yeah.
No, it's my fault. Yeah, Sheikh, we are saying. No, it unzip. Yeah. It already did unzip, right? But oh no, it was my bad.
April,
Maybe
April 1.
exactly. So I did not upload the May patch. In fact, I uploaded, but I uploaded on
Wrong
Mule
server.
runtime, right? So I'm sorry, guys. So let me. I think that was the issue. Yeah. So again, this is a manual step. We could not automate with Ansible, otherwise we could not have this situation. But let me do this. Okay, while it does this now, okay, it unzip. Yeah, correct. Because what happened is that, let me try to recall, right? Because it did for May month, right? So right now in metadata, it has still put the file of 22nd March, right? So when it tried to copy, right, it was looking for this one, right? Because in metadata, I had put a file of April, right? But I had put the patch of May, right? So in the May, it was like 19th April, right? So it was not able to find, and then it stopped. So it will not run the subsequent task. This is also a beauty of Ansible, right? So it will not do the, it will not do complete rollback, right? But at least you will know what happened and when it was, why it was stopped, right? So now let me just quickly go to Ansible playbook. I will go through this playbook, but since it did the half task, right? So I just need to comment. I will explain you why I'm doing this later. Remove existing view service. While it copies, right? I will check existing service. Copy patch file. Yeah, because it already removed my already one patch, right? So I'll explain why I'm doing this. I need to comment this, otherwise we might get error. I will explain this playbook once we are able to run successfully. The patch file, yeah, now everything should work. Let's see if work or not. So I am on Ansible machine, not on Mule runtime. May patch is there, yeah. And now let's run the Ansible playbook. Existing commands. Okay, and this. I think Mule might have been stopped because it already run the first task. Is it stopped? Let's see. So maybe accept this error what we got, right? I think it did in minutes. I mean, now it is starting Mule as well, right? So it will take more time when you try to download a file from MuleSoft site, or when you try to copy in your respective node, right? By the time this guy patches, it is now starting Mule as well. So we will also compare, right? Earlier, if you see, it were March files, right, in the patching, right? Let me see. I start Mule. Let's see. It must be in starting status. And meanwhile, let's look the. If you recall, right, in the April month, right, we had patch file having 22nd March, but in the May month, it should be 19th April, right? That's what the new we got upgraded. So if I open this, again, I'm in April. Let me go to May, README file. And if you see here, right, it's 19th April, right? So ideally, we should have this one, right? 19th April. Now, let's go to this. You can see 19th April. So this is did and just now 7:36. So basically, if I see right current PPC time for 3 seconds, it did the copy, yeah. So and then similarly, so it is not fetching any other thing, you know. That's what that's how it's written, right? So if I go to services, and here you say, right, these are the timestamp which has got changed, right? It just impacted 1, 2, and view. I can see the last file maybe did not remove. It did not remove the older patch. Looks like just for data view. I'm not sure why. I think I just need to pick the last data view, but it kept data view. I think that's a flow which I can check. Ultimately, it is not upgrading scheduler, SOAP, or any other service if you see, right? It just is only those specific components which we have got upgraded. Now, let me but I still need to check why I did not remove older one. That's a different thing. Now, if we see Mule server, yeah, it is started. So it patch. So now let me dig deep, right, into this Ansible playbook, right? And then maybe if I get a clue that why I did not remove the older data view patch, right? I think it's a bug which I need to fix. But then now let me see. Now let's see the Ansible playbook, yeah. So I will go to playbooks. So if you go to here, right? I mean, all the code is available on GitHub, right? So you can get it. I will update the new version once I fix this data view, right? It did not remove only the data view. It removed existing, I mean, all the different stuff, but it did not do. Not sure why. Yeah. Ultimately, what it does, right? You can see host, right? So everything is dynamic. So the intention of running Ansible playbook is that I do not want support team to change everything over here, right? Like changing host to P1, then they want to upgrade to P2, right? They will change P2. I do not want to. I do not want anyone to play around playbook, right? The other team, right? They just should be focusing on running the command, and it should do the job. So that's why we had that metadata file. In the metadata file, I had maintained the host, which was sandbox. So it tries to look up this properties file. You see this file. It gets the corresponding key, which is host, right? So it will get as a sandbox as a value, yeah. And then similarly, if you see, right, it's a lookup module or lookup function, I should say. This is not a module in Ansible. And here we are defining the source directory. So again, just to clear, right, I am not on Mule node. I am on node where Ansible is installed. And here you can ignore agent agent file name because I have another playbook which upgrades your runtime agent as well. So this is mule home. So all these different variables which will be used in the deload tasks. Source directory is nothing but where is the source directory where my mule patch is downloaded, right? So in all this process, if you see, right, if I want to patch 5, 10 or whatever nodes, right, I do not need to copy this patch on all these 10 nodes, right? I will just copy this node only on this guy where Ansible, which is acting as Ansible controller node. And exactly. And then I just, so this is the location what I'm showing is, so home CentOS mule upgrade where this is, where I just uploaded this patch file. And then these are all the patch files, right? So what was the patch file name? So patch file name is nothing but this guy, right? First tab. And then HDB folder, over folder, HDB file. Again, I am doing a lookup, reading the corresponding values from the properties file, which is maintained on this location. I want to become root. And then first task you can ignore. I just put for debug purpose. Just want to make sure this variable gets resolved. That was the purpose. Now stop mule. I'm using shell module. You can see I'm running this command. I run on debug mode. Second task is I'm just checking, right? Check if patch file copied or not. So this is what it does. So what it will do is it's not going to mule runtime. It is still on Ansible machine, but it just checks. Did you copy the patch of 4.2.2, right? It is not a 4.3, right? Just minor checking we are doing. So it is just checking. If it is there, right, then we are unzipping. So ultimately I need to unzip, right? All these steps are running on my local machine, I mean on Ansible machine. So you can see there is a delegate 2 is there, right? It says that you need to run this task on Ansible machine, not on mule runtime. If I do not mention this, right, delegate 2, then it will run on the host, whatever I had mentioned in the host, right? So here it's, so for unpacking, right, there is a module called unarchive. So it will just unzip. Zip to where, right? It will unzip to, if you see this mule upgrade folder, right, on Ansible machine. So if I refresh, right, ideally it should have already unzipped, right? So it already did this, right? So after unzipping, right, it will check any earlier remote patch. So now you do not say any delegate to, right? Which means this task will run on host, on sandbox in my case. It will find, here we are using find module. It will find in this path, lib patches. Is there any jar file or not? If there is a jar file, right, then I will get a JSON array with some value, right? So since I had commented, because when I run last time, right, it did partial run. So it had already removed this jar file, right? So if I do not comment, right, then it will not run. So but ideally it should not happen. Only in my case it happened because I had copied the wrong patch. So ideally someone should be trying to understand the code, then he will understand, right? But it's very easy. So that's why I had just commented. So in your case also, if partial upgrade happens, right, then you just need to see, okay, it failed in which step, right? And then you just need to check that step, and then you need to see why it failed, right? But otherwise, ideally it should not happen unless you copy wrong patch. Otherwise, it has to run. Yeah. So now if I do, right, so remove earlier patches. So we are on first tab, right? If you see this tab, delete any existing patches. So but when, right? So here there is a condition. So what I'm trying to do is, if I find, in the previous step, right? If it finds any remote patch, right? So basically, I do not want to remove all patches, right? So if you go to sandbox, let me open another instance. I think Sheikh, we are trying to go over time, but I will take max 10 minutes, right? Because the rest of the steps are repetitive.
Yes,
Is
Devesh.
that fine? Okay. Okay. So I will go to here and so that we can connect. So basically now, if I go to the home lib patches, so you can see it is 19th April, right? So what it checks is that it is checking is there any earlier patch or not, right? Imagine that now we are doing for June, right? So it will check. It will not remove this guy, right? So find module finds it. If found, then only we are removing. So that's the task is being executed in here, I guess that was here. Yeah. So when, right? So it is just checking my earlier variable, right? Which is register patch, right? It has got nested structure, right? So I'm just going to dot files and then length greater than 0. So if there was a patch file found, right? In this case, patch was there, right? Of 22nd April, right? So you will see that. So length, this condition will meet, yeah. So length will be greater than 0, then only it will remove. So this is a validation, if patch is there, then only remove, and do not remove. So here also, if you see, right, it is removing 0.path, right? I will show you. So if I go to run one, right? So now it should be very easier. So unpack service, debug, register, patch file, find earlier remote patch. So if you see, it tries to go to here, path variable. If you see files dot path, and then this is unzipping one. But if I go to this is unzip is done. Copy the file to patch. You see, okay, this is copy. Yeah. So it goes to over here, and then it just takes exactly this path. Since in my case, I'm not able to get that. Yeah, I'm getting empty array because I had already removed that patch file. But in your case, you will always get something like this: files, and then in the path, and you will get this guy, specific jar file. So if I go to over here, so it will go to, it will basically check if the patch file was there or not. If it's there, then it is going to remove. So it just refers. So this is the good thing about, I'm just logging the find command output to this register variable. So if the file was there, it would be there into this remote patch dot files dot 0 dot path, which is pointing to the patch file name, which is this guy, right? Specific this guy, which was already there, right? So everything is done on remote host. So it is checking for us on remote host whether the patch file was there or not. It removes, and it copies, right? So again, it copies from my source machine, which is where Ansible is running, right? It will copy from here to this guy lib patches with the necessary permissions. Yeah. And similarly, now the rest of the steps remains the same. Again, more or less, we are using the same command. We'll find if there is any existing HTTP service or not. Now, what it does is, I'm trying to get a bit more detail, but if it gets confusion, I can hold on. But what it does is, ultimately, I want to make sure that what I'm checking here is there was whether MuleSoft released grid for HTTP service or not. If MuleSoft did not release for HTTP service folder, right? I mean HTTP service, if there is no patch, right? I will not maintain in metadata. So this is a very crux. So if there is, so you will always maintain in metadata whatever you got upgrade for, right? So you do not want to upgrade accidentally any other service, but for me there was no upgrade, right? So that's why what this step does, if you see any subsequent step, right, it will upgrade. So it is checking HTTP file. Now HTTP file is nothing but those are the initial variables, right, which I got it, if you recall. You go over here, HTTP file, which basically points to read from metadata file. So if there is any metadata, if there is any HTTP file, or if there is any patch file, if there is there in metadata, then only I'm going to upgrade or copy or all those steps, right? So that's what it does. This is just a minor validation. It does check existing, then so it finds, then it removes. For remove, we are using file module state absent. It will just remove. Then you log the output, yeah, to variable for debug purpose. Then you create HTTP service folder. So first you remove, then you create new HTTP service folder, whatever we did manually, then you extract, right? For extract, we use unarchive. Similarly, same steps you do. You find existing OAuth service. If it's there, then you remove. Then you create a new folder on new node, right? And then you unzip it, right? So these are the steps which we do. Similarly, for data view, finally we start the view. So any questions? I think I just finished the whole Ansible topic for now, but if any questions or something which was not clear because I was switching from here to here. But to summarize, right, basically the first step is you download the patch. You just upload to your Ansible controller machine. This has nothing to do with Mule runtime, right? You just upload that patch. Then you just maintain metadata file. Now this is not a laborious process, right? Imagine that you need to do this to 4 nodes, right? So what we do is we do first week in dev, second week in test, and then last week we do in production on weekend, right? So during a month, right? Once a month, you do just just once, right? You need to just maintain this metadata file, the metadata which I show, right? The properties file, and then you just run the Ansible playbook. So that's all on Ansible module. Do we have any questions or anything?
Yes, we have a question. Okay. If any other type of files folder added in the new patch, okay, playbook ML and metadata file should be added entry for new file and folder type.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat question?
For example, we are getting a patch, but in the next release of MuleSoft platform runtime, we will get new file or new services that we have to maintain in the metadata file. Yes. Yeah, Devesh. That was the last question. Where one more question is that where are the logs getting created while running the Ansible playbook? Can we save those logs or it just console?
What I can say is those are displayed in console only. There should be some option, but I do not know answer to that question. But
Okay.
just to add one more thing, right? If you are running in production mode, if you want to hide these logs, right? So there is one option. If you want to do that, right? So I had disabled it because I want to show the logs. But ultimately, because these logs are very verbose, so if you see, go to no log true, right? If I do like this, then it will not display any logs. But yeah, but so far I see the option displaying inline. Huh?
Yes, Devesh. So we have finished the question. Rollback you have already completed. So we have around 30 minutes. Can we cover, show the 30-minute more or what? For
Right. I think it not went as per the plan. So how much time do we have, right? So how much time can we get? Because it went a little bit more, yeah.
30 minutes. You have 30 minutes. I have 5 minutes. So 5 minutes I will complete quiz. But maybe you show the main, basically what exactly we are doing to achieve.
Okay. Sure.
Because these things are kind of very rare because nowadays every customer of MuleSoft having the cloud hub, but we are the one who maintaining the on-premises infrastructure. Okay. Yes. So yeah, over to you.
So no problem. Thanks, Rick. We have 25 minutes. So I will try to wrap up, right? And then, so I will start with use case, right? What issues we faced. So I have some screenshot captured when that event happened. So let me go to downloads. So let me tell you what was the use case. So we imagine that we had on dev server, right? On dev environment. I'm referring to complete on-prem side. I'm not referring to cloud upside in this topic. So we already had one node in dev environment, Now, but there was no cluster because it was just a single server, right? It was just one node was added. Imagine it was a node 1 which was added. Now what happened is that after that we got extra capacity from MuleSoft, we got extra cores. So we wanted to add another node. So node 1 was there, we add another node, and then we want to create a cluster. Now, before adding another node, right? Imagine that in node 1 we were already having a lot of applications. Now node 1, so let me, if I try to put in verbose way, right? So if I try to put, imagine that node 1 is there, then node 1 has all the apps. Now node 2 comes, right? And then the final outcome is that create a cluster, right? Having node 1 and node 2. Now, ideally, you cannot add a cluster to node. You cannot add node to cluster. There are apps on it. So we were into that dilemma. So this is not a challenge, right? But so ultimately, to do this, right? So ultimately, node 1 were already having apps. Node 2 was a fresh new node, right? Now, what we did is that the first step was that I directly created cluster with node 2. I can add node 2 to cluster, right? Because node 2 had no any apps. So cluster was there, node 2 was blank. So imagine that we had, something like, then I'm going to show the demo as well, but this will help you quickly, what challenge we had. So I created dev cluster with node 2. I cannot add node 1 because node 1 had apps. It will not allow me. So I need to clean node 1, right? Before cleaning node 1, right, I need to copy all those apps to node 2. We had CI/CD, so with CI/CD, we had copied all those applications to node 1, node 2, because node 2 is anyways part of cluster, right? So now it's like node 2 is like node 1, right? So now node 2 has all the apps like node 1, and then we clean, right? Then clean node 1, then we clean the node 1, and then, so after this, right, so how it will look, so it would be like dev cluster, having just one guy, node 2, right? So far I have not added node 1, right? Just now I clean all the apps from node 1. Now it's a time to add node 1 to cluster. It's very easy, right? I mean, when I go to any point platform, it's so easy. You just UI part, right? So I did that. So basically, when I tried that option, right, and it was a timeline, right? So I was welcome with this screen. So this is a real picture, right, that I'm showing. So this is a dev cluster. I want to add, right? It is not displaying anything. Although node 1 had no apps, but it was not displaying. Now this does not happen every time, right? This was just, I mean, when I tried with my other training org, right, any other personal org, right, it works. It was just in our case, I don't know why it was not working, even though it had no apps. So there were no apps, but I was not able to add it. So this was a scenario, and then we just used the backend option, which was anypoint CLI, and then I just use after this one, right? With anypoint CLI, node 1 was added to dev cluster. Now let's see if we try to replicate all the same steps. I had some long list, but let's see if whatever we can do, right? So let's start with a very blank screen. We will do everything over here, yeah. So, but this is the overall scenario, and I will try to cover up what I can do, right? Maybe we cannot reach up to the endpoint, but I just give solution. That sometime anypoint CLI really rescued us. I was very happy when it worked, right? So this is just to give you final outcome of this second session, right, in case we could not cover. So let me go to my personal org, right, just which I'm using for this demo purpose. Yeah. Okay. Go to sandbox. Let me go to. I had already developed some apps. Let me just clean it. So I'm already on Mule training on other nodes. Yeah. And let me go to applications. I will just, for a safer side, yeah, I will just, okay. Switch to new application. Okay, am I missing anything? No. Okay. Okay, let me do one thing. Because it's not allowing to remove. Not sure why. CLI remove app.
Yes, because maybe it has node, those status are unknown. That's why cluster status was unknown, is unknown.
Correct. Or let me do one backend, right? I mean, rather the easier option is if I go to go to downloads and MuleSoft runtimes, node 1 apps. I should have backup, yeah. Let's see. And let me go to, so for just to save time, right? I have already created 2 nodes. I deleted the node 2. Okay. I will extract one more. The more cleaner version, which I don't expected, but see this, and then okay, downloads, and here, let me unzip it over here.
Already unzip.
Correct. Yeah. Let me cancel. Yeah, right. So basically, copy this. I'll directly go to Mule runtimes. Copy here. Rename this to O2. Yeah. So we are trying to simulate, the standalone environment, right? We are trying to simulate the same scenario. We are having 2 nodes. Now, what we will do is, okay, refresh it first. Okay, maybe let me remove the cluster. Looks like
Yes,
it allows
remove the cluster, remove the.
correct. So cluster. Okay, so immediately cluster removed. Let me clean everything, yeah. So it will be really clean if let's remove the server as well if it allows. Okay. Okay. So now, so we have clean version. Now we will try to replicate same scenario. So let me add both servers, node 1, node 2. Anyways, we would need that. Okay, so let's go from here only. Yeah, same name, node 1. Copy, and let me go to node 1 bin. That's where I need to run the command. Yeah. 0 easier. Yeah? So this is node 1. And after that, let me add this guy. Same step I will do for another node, node 2, bin, title, and let me get that specific token. So meanwhile, let's check the what happened to the first one. Did it happen or not? Okay, it is added. So I think I know why it's not allowing. So I think I had already added it, right? So once I remove this agent YAML file, right? Because that's the thing which it creates, right? Now it should work. MC setup. One by one, right? Which ideally it should appear over here, node 1. Okay, I'm not sure why we do not see that. That's okay, it came perfect. And let's, if I go with flow, right? So node 1, should I add node 2 or what I was thinking? Yeah, let's add it. But before I add, right? Let's start. I'm just thinking sequence. Yeah. Anyways, let's start here. Yeah. Yeah. So okay. Now let's add another node 2. Yeah. So I think it's already open. Node 2. And let's generate the token for it. Copy. And I'm in node 2. Okay, so this is done. While node 1 starts, we'll just close unwanted stuff.
In cluster, and then we add node 2 from CLI, and then and let's see what will happen. That's only use case we need to show.
Correct. So right. I'm just thinking which way we go just to. So I was okay. So what you are saying is that we directly create node 2 with dev cluster, huh?
Yes. So in that case, we're creating a cluster and we add node 1 in the cluster and we deploy one application in the cluster. And later we will add node 2 in the cluster through anypoint CLI. That's
makes sense. It will work. Yeah. So, but before that, I will quickly show you. I mean, if it's, let me start second node as well. My node 1 shows disconnected. I'm not sure. This is also goal. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's node 2. Okay, no idea, but it got trying to restart. Okay, meanwhile, I will open the third window. So what this will do is that I will start with anypoint CLI. So I have already installed anypoint CLI on my machine, right? Directly go to over here. So to configure anypoint CLI, right? If you go to setup, right? Anypoint CLI. If I search with this, all the steps are already there, so you can directly go to there. But and you can how you connect, right? Anypoint CLI with anypoint platform. There are the different ways: username, client ID, client secret. You can use with bearer token. Also, the recommended way is maybe you can create, credentials file, which is located in anypoint directory. Yeah. So then you can maintain all your credentials, right? You do create in your home directory, right? Like this, or maybe into Windows and like this. Yeah. So this is just one-time process, and then I will go to directly over here. I think now I can run anypoint CLI. So with that credentials file, right, which I had maintained, right, it will try to connect So in credentials file, basically you maintain, which environment you want to connect. In my case, it's Mule training, right? Okay. And then I will directly go to runtime manager. I will just list server, I think. So let me go to manager server list. See what is the command. In fact, I should have, it's already copied. So server list, okay. Go here. You have both servers, right? Node 1, Node 2, both are in running status. Now we will deploy applications to Node 1. I'm just thinking which one use case.
I think
no.
Node 1 already having one application.
No. So we started from scratch, right? So
okay.
So I'm just thinking. So I will go to runtime manager. I mean, we will just check, standalone applications. There are no applications. So let's do following. So let's add one applications to Node 1. So basically, I will directly go to this guy. So there is already command I had already put up, right? So what it does is, right, runtime manager, standalone application. I want to deploy one application on Node 1. But let me see. I think here I have not put. The name is different, right? If you can see, there is no hyphen. So I will just change this. And then the name of app, the path, right? So ideally it should deploy. Okay, it's deployed, and then we will just see the applications deployed. It is deployed on Node 1, right? Now, let's try to, so Node 1 is already there. Now what I will do is, let's try to create a cluster. So let's look at on front end view. Application is started. Let's go to servers. Let's do a create cluster. It is not showing me Node 1 itself, right? It is just showing me Node 2. So let's create with Node 2. I'm just doing reverse way. So let's do name will do dev cluster. I'm just adding Node 2 because Node 2 is like a blank, right? Let's go for multicast, create cluster. There must be at least one server. The cluster, okay, I did not select, looks like. Okay, so Node 2 is now gone to the dev cluster. Now Node 1, right? Imagine that now Node 1 is running, and so now you imagine that now you want to add Node 1 to dev cluster, right? Ideally, you cannot. Because so what we will try to do is when you add machine to cluster, right? I mean, it is disconnected. But ultimately, now the ultimate outcome is I want to add Node 1 to dev cluster. To add this, right? I need to remove applications on Node 1. So before I remove, right, I would like to copy that application from Node 1 to Node 2. The best way is CI/CD. So here I will just use anypoint CLI only. So if I see, right, there is a copy command was already there. Let me use this. Node 1 to Node 2. Okay, let's see what we are doing. So what we are doing, right? So we had application was deployed with name. It is demo app, yeah?
Yes, demo
Perfect.
app.
So I need to copy this. So demo app to demo app POC and
The server ID.
yeah, exactly. So on which server I need to? We are doing copy from Node 1 to Node 2, right? So Node 2 ID. No, actually
Cluster.
I need to get cluster ID. Correct. So I will go to runtime manager and then first because we create a cluster, right? So this is a cluster. Now, just to recap, right, what we are trying to do. So Node 2 is anyways part of cluster. Node 2 is like a blank. Now I want to add Node 1. I cannot add Node 1 because Node 1 has apps on it. So before I remove node 1 apps, right, I am copying from node 1 dev cluster. Dev cluster has just one guy, node 2. So I'm copying from node 1 to dev cluster, copying dev app, right, one of the app. So I'm just giving app name. So if you see copy, then demo app, that's the source app name. Here I need to give different app name. I don't know why, but this is how it works if you go with CLI, right? If you want to copy the same environment from one node to another node, you have to use you need to use target app name as a different name. So copy this guy with this new name on this cluster, yeah. So I will put it. Okay, let me type it down. 80295992.
Yes, 599. Yes.
And
So this is how we basically copy the application from node to cluster or one node to another node.
ideally, you can run it via CI/CD as well, right? If you want to run this command via CI/CD in your organization, right? If you're using CI/CD with any point CLI combination, right? I mean, you guys might be using it, but I'm just suggesting that if this kind of situation comes, right? Maybe this is another option. So once this is done, right? So now let's go to over here. Let me go to applications. Ideally, this app is now Node 1 as well. It is also now dev cluster. Now, ultimately, I want to add Node 1 to this, but demo app is already there, right? But I'm not worried now. Node 1 and Node 2 both are identical in terms of number of apps. So what I will do is I will simply remove Node 1. But before I remove Node 1, right? Let's try this option. Let's try to add Node 1, right? So not here. I should go to add servers. So I'll go to here. What I'm trying to do is in this cluster, right? Right now it has just node 2. I want to add node 1, right? It will not allow me ideally. So it is not allowing me because there is one app on it, right? In my case, there were no apps, but I was getting the same screen. Not sure why. Now, in this case, so to add node 1, right? If you see, right? Ideally, I want to see node 1 over here displayed. It is not displaying. Will clean node 1. Now I can clean because the app is already deployed on cluster. So let me remove this. Let's remove from command line, command line online, or rather, let's do it from here. I think because from command line, if when I try to run the command, right, it will remove from both machines, I think. But let's see. But let me remove from here because I'm not sure how will it work, right? So let me. I need to remove from node 1. Okay. Now let's wait for some time. Perfect. Now let's do create a cluster. No, I have to add a server. Cluster is already there. So let me go to here, add a server. You can see it's displaying beautifully, which I was dying to see this screen. But here it's displaying, right? So the moment I will add it, right, it will work. But let's do it from backend. So this is the point where I want to pause. In case if any one of you face problem that node 1 has no apps on it, but why it is not allowing, right? If you face this kind of issues, right, just use CLI. So that's what I did, and it worked very well. I cannot reproduce that issue, right, in my case. So what we will do as a last action, right, I will just add, so create a cluster and basically, let me directly go to here now. So point CLI, we want to add server cluster, okay? Perfect. Add servers to, okay, it is not showing with CLI actually. Point CLI command to add node to cluster. Okay, let's go here. Installation, authentication, list of commands. Commands, administering your locals cluster servers. Looks to be like this. We want to add server, yeah. Let's copy this guy. Market, yeah. So, runtime manager add cluster. We do not need options if you want to explore any options, right? It's cluster ID. So yeah. Okay, cluster ID is already there.
Yes.
So ID
8029599.
yeah. Let's see. Perfect. And then ultimately to this cluster, right? I want to add this server. Now, which server we want to add? That's
Node 1.
one, right? So
Yes.
this be entering. It's not copying.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is the server, right? Before that. Okay. So right now there is no cluster ID associated with this guy, right? And this was the moment which we had. How it's both are added to cluster. Right, so that's why you can see the logs rebooting. But a specific interesting point, what we wanted to show is that the part of cluster, and then node 1 is getting restarted. But so this is in a nutshell. I mean, Anypoint CLI is familiar. I mean, everyone is using, but the whole intention was that I wanted to show a quick overview and the use case, right? One of the use case which help us to resolve this issues of adding a server to cluster, even if server has no apps. So that's pretty much about it on this last topic. In case anyone has any questions or or Sheikh, any topic, I can pass it back control to you people.
Yes, actually, as of now, yeah, we don't have any question, and I would like to thank you, Divyesh, for basically showing the use case on real time. Actually, uh, the demo with like we are showing that how exactly things are working and how exactly we are doing the things in order to update patch and services in order to do some on our platform, Anypoint platform cluster environment maintenance or weekend management. So something are not working from UI because of some root cause, but the same thing we can do with the Anypoint CLI. So basically we have so this is the thing we should know that this if one way is closed, then there's another way to do that. So this is the whole point of and if guys, if you have any question, you can mention in the chat.
I mean, it was interesting. There were some surprises, but those were good surprises where you find to troubleshoot real time. So I had some situations in Ansible, but then it worked well in the end. And also let me just tell you one last thing. If you go to if we go to here, right? So this is the link, right, Sheikh? I don't know if you. This is open for anyone, right? Who want to run Ansible playbook for patching, right? It has instructions, the same instructions. So this is just a fast forward of this session, right? I have maintained everything, metadata file, the list of instructions. So everything is there. The patch file is also there. I will keep on updating the new version. This is just a sample file. So what if you want to use this, right? Just install Ansible, create your inventory file, and use this code. Ideally, it should work. Unless you have 4.3, right? I will try to create a new repository, new code for 4.3, and any bug fixes comes, I will keep on adding this. There is also YouTube video as well. If you search Ansible MuleSoft, you will get the same thing, same information. So this is just to you people can use it. That's the purpose. That's all.
Yes, Anurag, can you enable presenter mode only for our attendees? So I will take one screenshot of smiley face.
Yeah.
Only presenter mode.
1 second.
Yeah. So we will take one screenshot, two screenshot. After that, we will start the quiz session. And the most important, meanwhile we are doing the presenter mode on, please submit feedback. Any types of feedback means some upgradation or improvement, the things you not like, the things you most like, those are kind of feedback are welcome. And after the meetup is ended, after 3 hours, one email is generated and you have to submit feedback. Uh, my past Ahmedabad meetup, I got feedback, I improved myself, I improved meetups. How exactly going to do that? So because this has happened because of you guys, you suggesting a topic also ki this topic please cover that. So this kind of feedback I also want. And as this topic I like very much, because normally we are doing the all cloud hub stuff where we don't need to do anything. With just one click, it is everything works. But as have some of the developer having or some of the customer having the on-premise infrastructure, and what kind of things we should know that, because it is a patching, it is our job, who basically customer are managing their MuleSoft runtime. So it is our job to do patching and services. So this topic is very useful for them. And any point CLI, you can also see that how exactly we are deploying application, how exactly we are starting, stopping node, adding a node, deleting application from any point CLI. So please turn on the video. I will take 1 or 2 screenshots. You can unmute yourself also, because it is not something like that only video.
You guys, you can share something with us. Yes, Shikha, I think we have took the pictures.
Yes. Okay. So let me share my screen. In this quiz round, let me complete the quick round quickly, and I'm going to share my screen. In Notepad, I'm going to paste question one by one, and but every question having the options. So you have to basically ping the option, write correct option, correct answer in the chat. And every answer I am going to mention dash dash dash, means it is like that we are not overlapping with first question with second question. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to share the first question. Just let me know what are you able to see in my screen. Notepad, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So in the Notepad, I'm going to paste first question. So before that, let me make the answer are accepted in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay. And the correct answer is correct answer, and the right winner will be chosen by Divyesh. Okay. So this is the first question. Yes. Devish, we got winner. From the chat. Let me show. So the question is, yeah.
What is the answer for this?
I'm sorry, I was.
It's
Please C is the answer, but let me admit there was a one mistake. C's answer, it's a mistake at mine where I just put partial one. Of course, A, B, D are not relevant at all. C is the correct one, but ideally the file name, right? So if you see the file and directory, right? So first, if you see comma separated values, first refers to file name, second is directory. File name should be actually, if I see right, I think I had created file name was, just a second. I will just reconfirm, yeah. But C is the correct answer. There is no doubt.
yeah. So for that, either M is the winner.
Correct. So file name should be credential, and then it should be created in your home directory. So which is correct. So slash hyphen, which is correct. Only the file name should be credentials. That was my. If you see the first dot any point, right? Instead of any point, it should be dot credential,
Yeah.
and then you will create. Yeah, that was the correction. But yeah, but as long as people have mentioned dot any point, right? When they thought of right, that's the correct answer.
Congratulations, Girdhar. Please ping us your email address.
Yeah, the right one.
Congratulations, yeah, perfect.
Another question I'm going to paste in my notepad. Let me make some overlapping is not there. Let me put some. Okay. So Ansible playbook, which command can be used to switch to another user for running all the tasks in the playbook?
So if I want to switch to another user, right? So
Yes.
That user, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Allow user one become user or see user.
Because I cannot see the chat screen. I don't in my case, but I can see what options do we have so far. I can see C, B, A. All options we have, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So B is the correct option. So
Yeah. So Anurag Khandelwal gave first answer for this, and B is the correct answer. So congratulations, Anurag.
congratulations.
Yes. Okay. And let me. It is kind of easy last third one. So please let me do some. Okay. For the placeholder, actually, I'm putting a placeholder, so other one not.
Yeah.
So multiple options we have. Okay, so after placeholder,
I think it's Rakesh Reddy is the winner.
yes, 26 new connector added in
Yeah.
recently in the Anypoint Exchange.
So this was our first initial topic when Sheikh explained that how many new connectors we MuleSoft added. So 26 is the right answer. So congratulations, Rakesh.
Okay, so guys, I need your email ID in here only. Can you please
Yeah.
provide?
You can direct message us.
Okay.
So Giridhar M, Anurag Khandelwal, and the Rakesh Reddy is the winner for today's driver.
Just 1 minute. We got breather ID, email ID.
Yeah. And second is Anurag Khandelwal.
Anurag, can you please?
Yeah, I'm
provide
noting
your
down.
Okay. So do we have all guys, all three winners email ID?
Anurag and Rakesh didn't think till now.
Okay.
Okay,
Anurag.
yeah, Anurag also ping Rakesh Reddy's. Rakesh, can you also ping the email?
Rakesh, you don't want training?
Guys,
that
the winners will get the training vouchers. So you can attend the trainings. There will be options what trainings you can attend. So according to your profile, you will be eligible for the trainings. So please utilize that. We will share you the code for that. Thank you. Thank you, Rakesh. So yes, Sheikh, I have noted down all these three email addresses.
Yes. Okay. So thank you guys for joining Meetup, and just please submit feedback. It's kind of very feel good that you provide a feedback for our Meetup.
Yeah, so guys, there will be a link that we will be shared, so you can click on the link. After the wrap up this call, there will be a link in your email account. So for the feedback, please give us the feedback. And if you have any for next meetup, if you have any new topics, so please share with us so we can contact to experts of those topics, and we can schedule the call and we can ask their time. So it will help everyone. Thank you, Devesh. Thank you so much for today's topic. It was very nice demo, and it was really, we learned a lot from your demo. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.